Anxious applicants crowded around the exam results stand. We checked the lists of applicants, looked for ourselves. The guys became friends while they were taking those very entrance exams to the institute. It was a hot summer, and I was drawn closer to the cool water. The entrance exams were left behind. It was possible to relax. Who's going to the lake with me? Suggested Vadim, who claims to be the leader, to his new friends. The guys, having come to find out the results and found themselves on the lists, sat contentedly and chatted about plans for the rest of the summer. Vadik was the most sociable of them. You could immediately guess in his manner of conversation and habits. And the soul of the company turned on. I have a car. My father bought a new one and gave me his old Lada. We can drive it, the handsome and athletic Roman suggested. I do not know if I can, Misha thought. Dad will probably mind. He was going to visit his grandfather in the village. We need to cover the roof. He asked for help. Are you underage? What is your dad still commanding you about?
Roma snorted contemptuously.
You've grown up from that age so that your dad decides everything for you. Or not yet. So you're going. Roman's taunts were insulting and unbearable. But Misha remained silent. He wanted so much to join this new company, to make friends. Since childhood, he has been modest and shy. He had almost no friends at school. He was simply ignored. Even now, he was listening to his new friends more than he was talking. Misha thought it would be a great idea to go out of town with the guys. It is necessary to somehow integrate into adulthood, earn a new authority for himself so that later he would already work for himself. There were no more people willing to join. 2 days later, early in the morning, as agreed, we met here at the stands with the lists. We went to the village with backpacks, tents, provisions, and a friendly company. It's a pity the girls are not with us, but I think that's not a problem. We'll find them on the way or meet them in the village. There's always a lot of guys coming over for the summer. Vadim was sure that he would be able to assemble a bigger company. That he checked the contents of his comrades' backpacks and came to the conclusion that they had taken little alcohol. Misha tried to object that they were going to sunbathe and swim, but Roma again ridiculed him in a rude way. We bought a hot drink without any problems, loaded into the car, and went out of town. Vadim chose the place himself. A small village on the shore of the lake. He used to come here to visit his grandmother. Then my grandmother died. Her parents sold her dilapidated house as unnecessary. But Vadik remembered the road well and assured that the place there was excellent and sparsely populated. And so it turned out. There were several couples with children on the beach who left after a while. The friends were having a great time, swimming all day, bungee jumping, playing ball, which Misha had picked up. At the same time, Vadik and Roma took turns drinking foamy drinks, which were cooled in excess in the water near the shore. Then they took care of the tent and the campfire. It was time to start dinner, which was entrusted to Tikhon Mishka. The heat of the day began to subside a little. Suddenly Vadik heard a cheerful girlish laugh not far away behind the coastal reeds. And here are the women. I told you they would. Vadik, who was already pretty drunk, said to his friends, laughing slightly, so we won't stay alone on the shore. I'm going to get acquainted. Mishka was slightly offended by the way Vadim calls the girls. A few minutes later, he returned to the campfire with 2 pretty girls, about the same age as the guys themselves. Vadik, like a true cavalier, gallantly invited his friends to barbecue, the aroma of which was already lingering in the air above the lake. Lena and Sveta conferred and agreed to sit for a short time. The evening was noisy and fun. The guys talked animatedly, laughed, sang songs to the guitar, treated the girls to meat fried on a campfire. The girls refused hot drinks. After a couple of hours, they noticed that the young people were getting more and more drunk. Lena nudged Sveta with her shoulder and nodded towards the village, saying it was time to leave. But it was clear that Sveta did not want to leave at all. She really liked the modest Misha, who was silent all the time and also did not take his eyes off the pretty guest. The girl captivated him with her openness, cheerful smile, and dimples. The girls were about to leave, and Sveta asked Misha to accompany them to the village. The other two friends didn't like it very much. How could such a beauty choose this scumbag nerd as a guide? Vadim was burning with anger from the inside, but still restrained himself. Misha went with the girls to the village, and his friends stayed to guard the campfire and tent, very unhappy with this fact. As it turned out on the way, Lena was leaving the next evening, and Sveta stayed with her grandmother for another couple of days. Misha made her promise that she would come ashore tomorrow. Sveta, smiling, agreed. She didn't understand why she was so attracted to this quiet and modest guy, but she didn't show it. She said she would definitely come, despite her friend's disapproving look. Misha has always been indifferent to alcohol, so the next day, when the guys took more vodka and snacks from the village store, he wanted to pack his things and leave. But I remembered that I had set up a date with a nice girl here, and his new friends persuaded him to stay, saying that this bottle is the last and that's it. And he believed in his own head. Misha tried only to pretend that he was drinking along with the others. He did not even notice at once how Sveta came. "Oh, Svetlana, thank you for lighting up our bachelor party with your arrival." Vadim noticed the girl. "You've finally visited us. Guys, I'm going to go. Perhaps you are almost all drunk here." Sveta replied. "Well, where are you going, beautiful?" Roman went to the girl. "Have a seat. Let's have a drink." And he put his arm around her shoulders and pulled her towards the makeshift table. "Actually, I came to see Misha. He promised to tell me about the constellations in the sky." "I don't drink. I won't drink," the girl insisted. But Roman didn't pay attention to it. He forced her to sit next to him, poured a glass, and began to try to forcibly pour vodka directly into her mouth. "I won't. Don't you dare." The girl kicked and resisted, but already 4 strong arms were holding her tightly. "Oh, stop it." Misha darted towards his friends, who had already dumped the girl on the sand and were brazenly groping with their hands under her skirt. "Fuck off." Vadim kicked him away with his foot. "Hold on to this idiot and I'll handle this myself for now," Vadim ordered Roman. "And then your turn will be." Roman switched to Misha. He did not stand on ceremony with him for a long time. The guy fell from a strong blow to the face. Roma was clearly taller and more powerful than Misha. Athlete, what can I say? Misha quickly jumped up, but was hit in the face again. A few more kicks and punches, and Misha lost consciousness. And suddenly, a huge gray dog came out of the thickets of Vadim's reed, lowering his head and baring his terrible sharp fangs. The fur on the back of his neck stood on end, and his ears stood up. The dog stared unblinkingly straight at the rapist and advanced on him with the relentlessness of a hurricane. Sveta at that moment cowered in fear and tried to cover her slender body with the remnants of a torn dress. The dog was saying with all his appearance, "If I try to touch her again, I'll tear her to shreds." The huge dog, without stopping, fell with his whole body on the rapist, aiming at his throat. Vadim screamed, instinctively covering himself with his hands, trying to throw off the dog. Then he jumped up, waved his bloody hands, and ran towards the car, screaming and calling for help. The dog no longer growled, but pursued the fleeing man like a gray shadow. When he reached him, he knocked him to the ground and again inflicted painful bites. The dog's askel was so ferocious that Roman screamed, running away in the opposite direction from the village. Vatic, run, it's a wolf, the wolf. 3 minutes later, a red penny drove away from the lake and disappeared around a bend. The wolf watched her go, lowered the fur on the back of his neck, and returned to his mistress. She helped Misha come to his senses and told him that this was really a real wolf. He was a loyal friend of her grandfather, the forester, who once picked him up in the forest when he was still a wolf cub. And today, the wolf saved not only her honor, but also her life. Did you like the story? Like and subscribe to the channel. There is still a lot of interesting things ahead. All the best.